Hello friends, welcome to our Strength for the Journey, where we tap into the most abundant resource in the universe, God's love. I always encourage you to ask questions and recommend topics that you encounter along your faith journey. And you can do so by leaving comments down below or by messaging me directly. And one of the most common questions I've been getting recently is, how do I know God is listening when I pray? I pray and I pray and I pray, but I never get an answer from God. Am I doing something wrong? No, friends, you're not doing something wrong. I can tell you from my own faith journey that this is a challenging process. I know for myself when I am struggling, it is usually because I'm trying too hard. It is because I'm trying too hard to hear God's voice and to hear it with my ears and with my mind. The truth of the matter is, when God speaks to us, we hear it with our hearts. It is about being present and open and still. Now that's all well and good, but how do we listen with our hearts, you ask? Remember when we were learning to tie our shoes, and it was just the most difficult thing in the world. We just couldn't get it. And then all of a sudden one day, we tied our shoe for that first time, and we never looked back. It's the same type of scenario, friends. It's hard to learn how to do for the first time, but once we do, it becomes second nature. One of the important aspects of hearing God is to create a space for yourself, a space where you can have 10 to 15 minutes alone, undisturbed and undistracted. Turn off your phone, turn off your TV, turn off the radio. I promise the world will not end if you disconnect from it for 15 minutes. But you will gain the world if you come to God in prayer for 15 minutes. When you enter into prayer, take a few deep breaths to center yourself, to enter into that spirit of prayer. And once you are relaxed, lift up your prayers to God. Pray honestly and earnestly. Pray what is on your heart and on your mind. And then as you are ending your prayers, conclude with a word such as, God, I open myself to whatever messages you have for me today. I open my heart to you. Now here's the important part, friends. We don't just get up and walk away at that point. We need to continue in our time of stillness and silence. Continue in that place of prayer. Shutting off our thoughts, not reaching, not straining too hard, trying to hear, just being still, being present in the moment. And this is when God speaks to us. For myself, I don't hear a voice or get audible messages from God. It's intuitive, meaning I will be in the stillness and just a wave of knowing what the answer is may come to me. Knowing what it is that God wants to say to me. And at first it's hard to believe that this really is God speaking. We think we make it up ourselves. But over time, as we trust those answers and engage those answers and see them play out in our lives, we come to be sure that this truly is the voice of God we hear. Some people do better writing things down. There is one exercise I engage in from time to time where after a prayer and I'm in the stillness, I will write myself a letter from God. I will start it out as if God were writing a letter to me. And then I just let it go wherever it goes. A stream that fills up the page. And you'd be amazed what some of the things come to us in that way. So many times we're afraid to hear what God has to say to us. And maybe that's why it's so hard to listen. We're afraid that we'll get scolded for the things we've done wrong. We're afraid we'll have to account for the ways we've fallen short. We're afraid we'll be told we're not good enough. We're afraid we'll be told that there's much more that we should be doing. But friends, when we listen for God's voice, what God tells us is so much more powerful. The messages we receive are messages like, I love you. Messages like, I have seen your pain. I have seen how hard you try. I have felt your sorrow. I have caught your tears. I know your fears. But I love you, and I am with you, and we will get through this together. Those are the messages we receive from God. There was one person who told me the story about how when she used this exercise, she was going through a very difficult time. It was one of the most difficult times in her life, and she felt downtrodden. She felt worthless and hopeless. And she cried out to God, God, why have you made me with all these flaws? Why have you made me this way? And the message she heard when she came to God was, I made you this way because I need more good people in the world. People like you. That one message changed her life forever. It changed the way she viewed herself and the way she interacted with others. This is the power of prayer. This is the power of being still and hearing the messages of God. My prayer for us this day, friends, is that we will learn to engage frequently and regularly in deep prayer, in deep connection with God. And that we will continue to receive those messages that we are worthy, you are good, you are seen, and most of all, you are loved. This is our strength for the journey.